Mixed reactions on both social and traditional media to the latest ministerial list of President John Dramani Mahama. Former minority leader and sitting politician Haruna Idrisu is heading to the Education Ministry, whilst governs Kwame Agboja is Minister Designate for Roads and Highways. My colleague Kwame Ochi Jr. joins me in studio with some analysis. Kwame, first, let's go through the list of nominees and their qualifications.
All right, Val. So let me start with the Eric Opoku, Honorable Eric Opoku, Minister Designate for Food and Agriculture. Well, he's been on that Food and Agriculture Committee for a very long time.
Yes,
and many,
he's been ranking.
Exactly, and many thinking that, well, it's best that he gets that position. So he's an expert in law, agriculture, and leadership, and also LLM, International Business Law, University of Essex in the UK, and then BA in Economics and Law from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, ranking member on the Food and Agriculture as well. Let me move to Honorable Ahmed Ibrahim, a Ghanaian politician, public servant. He holds an MBA in finance from GIMPA and a BA in political science and philosophy from the University of Ghana. Since 2009, he has served as a member of parliament representing so Banda, it was Ting and then later Banda constituency.
He came to parliament on the ticket of time when he came to parliament. He's been a member of parliament. In fact, he served in that capacity as a deputy whip for both minority, majority. Yeah. So he has that experience of whipping people. Local government, it's a very tough ministry.
And then move to the Banda constituency, where he's still currently the member of parliament for the area, and has held leadership roles such as deputy majority, like you mentioned, minority whip, a former CEO of Flamingo Publications Ghana Limited. Ahmed has participated in international workshops on parliamentary governance and telecommunications. We move to Honorable Governor Kwame Agboja as well. He is an experience in architectural design and project management, a chartered architect. He earned his qualification from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, Westminster University, and East London University as well. Principal consultant at K Partners Limited, many other member of Parliament for Adaklu.
And that's why he's been the ranking on the Roads and Transport Committee for a very long time. Because of that experience.
And then your very good friend, Honorable Abla Jivakomashi.
Yes.
Then in the John Mahama's administration, then she was a deputy minister for tourism, culture, and creative art. Now she's been elevated to a substantive minister. Many thinking that, well, that's a good position for her because she's been an actress.
She brings a wealth of
experience
in that
lot.
Industry.
So she's on there. And then Elizabeth Ofosue Jare, then in the Mahama administration, she was the sector minister for tourism, culture, and creative art. Now she's been moved to a different ministry.
That's a trade ministry, and a lot of people are surprised about it because they thought that Haruna may be the best candidate. People were seeing him because he's been a trade minister before. But I think that because she has that agribusiness background,
very well,
maybe that's why she's been taken to the trade ministry.
And then Miss Agnes Namumulati is also a legislature and development expert with over 20 years of experience managing projects in governance, health, education, and women's rights. As a member of parliament for Krowa constituency, she serves on key parliamentary committees shaping national policy and advancing gender and community-focused initiatives. With PhD in African Studies, Dr. Lati has held leadership roles such as General Secretary of the National Association of Local Authorities of Ghana, that's NALAC, and also Executive Director of the Global Initiative on Rights and Development, demonstrating expertise in leadership, advocacy, and grassroots empowerment as well. Then Georgia Pariado, aka Pablo, she's going to lead the new ministry. He's also a lawyer, a local government official, business executive, and accomplished party organizer. His political activism and organizational skills earned him the position of National Youth Organizer for the NDC, a role he has held since 2018, and that's a very long time. During this time, he has mentored several young men and women who now hold key position within the NDC. And of course, lead up to the 2024 election, what many can talk about is the Green Army.
Yes, and for the first time in the history of the party, they launched a youth manifesto. What the youth is going to do, or what the party is going to do for the youth. Got the youth involved. They did the manifesto themselves, did the launch themselves, and went about speaking to the youth in almost all the universities across the country for them to lead. And now he's going to be Minister for Youth Development and Empowerment. That's if Parliament approves him.
Sure. And this is a ministry where John Dramani Mahama talked about 1 million coders for the youth, then development as well. So this particular youth is going to be centered around youth development. And I'm sure that lots of Ghanaian youth are looking forward to his leadership as far as this particular ministry is concerned.
And one interesting thing that has come up, maybe those who know him think that is a challenge for him. Others feel that he's more capable. That's the education ministry. Haruna Idrisu. That's where he's going to. Maybe for those of us who are not in that sector, it's a surprise. Let's see those in the education sector, whether this came to them as a surprise. Divine Pe is an education specialist. He's joined us on the line. Good evening to you, sir. Thank you very much for your time tonight on 505.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
Divine, you've been in this sector for a while. Haruna Idrisu, Education Minister Designate. Is it a surprise to you?
Well, it is surprising not because of his capability, but because it is not somebody that has been part of my list. When I do my list, I don't think him, so it came as a surprise that he's finally the one. But I'm not surprised that he will do well. In fact, potentially it's a potentially impactful decision. Potentially that's an impactful decision that the president has made. Haruna is an accomplished politician who has held 3 ministerial positions in the past. So, of course, he comes to the sector with a wealth of leadership and government expertise. So, I don't have doubt that he'll be able to perform in the ministry. He had demonstrated that in the past ministry, and I have that absolute trust that he should be able to perform. Of course, he doesn't have a direct background in education. Yes, we understand that, but we all know that the role may not necessarily demand that you have a background in the sector that you are going to do. Once you possess some key qualities, you should be able to do well in the ministry that you are trying to. So for me, I strongly believe, given that he's somebody that is easily adaptable to a situation and an environment in different sectors, he should be able to adapt to the education sector quickly. We've seen him in trade ministry, how he adapted to the ministry and did his best. We've seen him also at the labor ministry, communication ministry also over there. So adaptability is one of the key qualities, and I expect that you bring that to bear again at this particular ministry to quickly adjust to the environment to be able to deliver. One key thing that will be his move to succeed is to be able to engage and listen very well to the various actors in the space. So strong stakeholder engagement is very important. If he's able to play that effectively, carry the stakeholders along, I have no doubt that he'll be able to succeed.
This is an area that has lots of strikes. Basic challenges, free SHS challenges, school feeding, and all that. You've talked about key qualities: adaptability, engaging, listening, carrying stakeholders along. Are these the only things you need to succeed in that ministry?
Right. Of course, the Ministry of Education has a bouquet of issues. I have to admit that the issues that he's going to encounter, especially when it comes to resolving labor issues. But I want to expect that he will count on his previous ministerial experience when he has been at the employment and labor ministry. Of course, labor issues fall directly under employment and labor ministry where he has been before. So that experience counts for him to be able to address some of the challenges when it comes to strikes that we experience in the education sector. I want to believe that he'll be able to blend that to be able to succeed in his role. Beyond what I mentioned previously that he has, I believe that he has that political leadership. We have seen him in parliament, majority leader, and that leadership which is needed, he has it, he has that it, and beyond that, he has a strong public support. I want to believe that Haruna is somebody that a good number of Ghanaians know the way he does his politics. He irrespective of the political divide that you admire of doing politics. It's gentle about it, and he goes on to issue and not based on political undertone or coloring. So, based on that, we should be able to receive the necessary support from the Ghanaian population to be able to deliver for us. I want to believe that we have the full support of the stakeholders in the space, the teacher unions, and then the civil society organization. I want to believe that strongly it is a good news for them, his demeanor, his leadership skill. And that will be very good for him to be able to succeed. But one thing that we need also to talk about him is that also he doesn't have a background in education. He has been a strong advocate for education, having been a student leader before, youth leader before, and when we serve him as majority leader of Parliament, he has been a strong advocate for education. Quite a number of times he has used that particular platform to push for education development. So he has been passionate about education, so that sector is not going to be entirely new to him. He has been clean about the sector. He has followed the sector keenly over the years. He has spoken for the sector using the platform in Parliament. So I want to believe that because of something that he has been passionate about, he should be able to give it his best now that he's in charge of the ministry.
Before I let you go, we know that you go through vetting, but it's a done deal. From his experience, he's appeared before the committee several times. He's been a leader in the house, so not much grilling. What do you expect as someone in that sector of a Haruna Idrisu-led education ministry?
The good question about Honorable Idrisu is that he's from the northern sector of the country, and I expect that based on that, he should be able to close the divide that we see between the southern and then the northern sector when it comes to access, and when it comes to equity, and when it comes to quality. We have a very high gap between these particular indicators. I want to believe that coming from the part of the country that has been deprived when it comes to availability of educational resources, he will be able to use equity in resource distribution to ensure that parts of the areas, including his part of the country that is coming from, he'll be able to allocate resources equitably to close the gap that we are seeing. So if he faces the committee, I expect that one of the questions we should be asked is what he's supposed to do in closing the geographical gap that we see in educational outcomes. What is he trying to do, or will he be going to do to close the gap? I would want to do a question that, because that is a major issue in the education space. We have seen that disparity in learning outcomes over the years. When it comes to access, the northern part of the country is lacking. In fact, when it comes to transition from primary school to junior high school, since about 50% of primary school do not have junior high school attachment, transition from primary school to junior school becomes a challenge. I'll be very glad if we can close that disparity over there. And also when it comes to quality and then availability of the new resources, again, that part of the country is deprived in those areas. So primarily, we should try as much as possible to close the disparity that exists in the learning outcome between the southern and the northern part of the country.
Sakpe, very grateful for your time on 505. Divine Pay is an education specialist. And in studio with me too is our parliamentary affairs correspondent, Tavela Kekeli. He's in parliament with majority of the persons whose names have come up. Haruna Idrisu, your very good friend. He's your... What do you think? Education?
I'm not too surprised if you'd ask me, because I'm currently on a project for Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and one of the things I came by is that he contributed largely to the formation of Get Fund as then the president of the National Union of Ghana Students. In fact, he pushed that very agenda for the formation of Get Fund. I believe that these is one of the considerations the president may have considered in giving him that position. So I'm very confident that he's very capable of doing the job. Having gone around gathering information and data about Haruna Idrisu, another thing I found is that he has a very strong personality and good appeal among cross-section of various stakeholders in the country. And you know, in the education sector, there are a lot of various stakeholders. You need someone who can appeal to all these various.
You have CTAG, you have NUCs, you have NAT, you have almost everybody going on strike at one point or the other.
Yes, and he commands a lot of respect. You know, just for I think 2 weeks ago was his mother's funeral, and look at the caliber of individuals who gathered internally just because of him. So I'm very confident he will perform.
Initially, people were considering him for either communication digitalization,
yes,
or defense.
Yes.
So when the education thing came about, some were like, Haruna has never been a ranking on the education committee.
Yeah.
You hardly hear him on the floor of parliament talking about education. A lot of things. He'll talk about trade, he'll talk about taxes, he'll talk about water and others. But education, some say, maybe is to quote and unquote clip his wings or make sure he doesn't really succeed. Just like they take you to the sports ministry, you know that something's going to happen.
And as part of the resetting agenda, that is the resetting Ghana agenda, you know, you need people who are more visionary. A lot of time, it's not just about the talks. It's about someone who is very capable. And I think with a big name such as Haruna Idrisu, with this vast experience in the field of politics and governance, I think he'll perform. I strongly believe that.
One ministry that has become very big with the collapse of others and merging of others, it's the local government ministry. And the current first deputy whip, yes, Ahmed Ibrahim, member of parliament for Bana, is the person going there. It looks like it was a done deal because everybody suspected or expected that, yes, based on what he's done in parliament, he's going there. Now it's local governance, chieftaincy and religious affairs together. What does Ahmed bring to that ministry if it's confirmed?
Looking at it from far and also close as a friend, a lot of time you go to his office and you see pastors line up. Pastors.
What are they doing there?
Kirsty call, they want to see him, and he's been at the forefront. He's part of the Parliamentary Christian Fellowship. Okay. He's one of them, key leader in there, and he's very diverse when it comes to chieftaincy issues and all that. Looking at the area where he's come from, you know that a lot of chieftaincy issues, and he's always in there. You know, so I believe strongly that the president is being very strategic here. And for in the case of Ahmed Ibrahim, it's not so surprising because even on the committee in Parliament, he's one of the key persons raising issues on chieftaincy, on local governance or local government and all that. And I want to strongly believe that he's just the best person among parliamentarians, that is the NDC members of parliament. There's no other name you'd mention than Honorable Haruna Idrisu.
Havela, you stay with me. We have other things to talk about, but let's look at the Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Ministry. Minister designate Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare. Samson Asaki Awingobet is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. They've always talked about the ministry and what they think the government needs to do to improve trade and also help those who import and export to be able to employ lots of people. This morning, he was on a sister station at Accra FM talking about the person that they think should lead. Samson Asaki Awingobe joins us. Good evening to you. Thank you very much for your time on 505, sir.
Thank you very much for having me.
Elizabeth Ofosu-Adjare, for the Trade, Agribusiness and Industry Minister. What do you think about that appointment or nomination?
Well, thank you very much. Let me say a very big congratulatory to our dear sister and honorable member for being born each or two. That's why his sponsorship is. I strongly believe that this is a very vast ministry that has a very broad extension. And now that we are now adding agri-businesses, so that she has a lot in her hand, and this needs a bigger hearted person. This needs a very calm person This is someone who is very well discerning and should be prepared to be engaging, because while there's so many agencies under her, stakeholders will also be very huge in that regard. And I think that it will take a level-headed and a very well-thought minister to be able to deliver, especially as the president has promised Ghanaians resetting Ghana. And so, Honorable Elizabeth Ajare is not a new person. I think the last government of John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency the President, she was, I think, she was a gender minister or so before the exit power. She's a lawyer.
She was the tourism minister.
Tourism minister, sorry, good. Tourism minister, thank you very much for the correction. She's a lawyer, which, as you know, and I think that she's also a party person. I know that she's a mother, and she will have the desire to accommodate all stakeholders. The agribusiness is a new agency. We will see how that agency will be brought. What is it going to bring different to the Ghanaian economy? And I think that the industry and then the trade. So what it means is that probably that ministry will probably end up having about 3 deputies to be able to support her to steer up the and then make sure that they deliver the government promises. So far, I've not heard anything bad about both public and private. I've not heard anything bad about Honorable Ajare, and I cannot stand here to tell you because your mama has appointed her, I will begin to fabricate anything against her. We can only pray that to see her getting so that we'll be able to know her competence. And even if she's not new, I hope she will be prepared to learn and then will adapt quickly so that she'll be able to deliver well. From important export association, we see it to be new person in the industry. But we are excited to see a woman that way. It's not the first female to be in that corporate administration. I think the last government of the Mahama, Matete once headed that minister also as the Minister of Faith. And you can see her blueprint. I do feel that it will fall on those old folks to be able to tap their experience. Honorable Abu Dhabi and others have been to that ministry. There's a lot of people that I think have an issue at a point or so, or this Mama Yarga was able to step in that ministry before. So I hope she will be able to learn upon them. And of course, agencies and sector associations are there. We are there. So if she calls on us, some of us, to ask about our industry, the maritime and the present trade, the port there, what will bring trade into this country, what will help to export, to do more export, we will definitely support her in that regard. So we'll wait till we see her appearing in the person, then we'll see whether which are her strengths, what are her weaknesses, and how best we can all help her to be able to propel and then handle that ministry. It's a huge ministry, I guess, and so it will be prepared that that tourism and that ministry is not the same. Trade is huge, and has a lot of stakeholders and agents that should be dealing with. To be prepared for criticism, I will say both constructive criticism and both destructive. But you should always listen more and talk less. Then the agencies and then various sectors will support her to achieve the objectives.
Angobit, we are very grateful. Once you say that you wait till the vetting, I'm sure we'll have a conversation after her vetting as well. Samson Asaki Awingobit is Executive Secretary of the Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana. So, 23 ministries, 13 so far gone, if you're not adding the various regional ministers. We have 10 ministries that do not have any nominee so far. That's the Ministry of Interior, Defense, Transport, Sports and Recreation, Lands and Natural Resources, Foreign Affairs, Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations, Environment, Science and Technology, Works, Housing and Water Resources, Labor, Jobs and Employment. These are the ministries without nominees so far. So we'll wait. John Mahama said he was going to name his cabinet in 14 days. It's just about 8 or 9 days.
Yeah.
We have had lots of ministries. I mean, interesting names. Dr. Jonathan Asantiotre is senior lecturer at the University of Cape Coast and also a political analyst. He joins us on the line. Doc, good evening. It's always a pleasure speaking to you on 505. Thank you for your time.
Good evening.
Doc. Oh. I can hardly hear you. If you can speak up for me, I will appreciate it, sir.
Yeah, it's not my fault. I'm tired. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Interesting names for interesting ministries. People say the surprise of them all is Harry Idrisu going to education ministry. With the appointments that have come out so far, what are your political readings into it? What does John Mahama want to communicate to Ghanaians?
Well, I see three main things here. One, I see regional balancing. I see stomach acting running through. And people with a particular background, as far as those ministries are concerned, have been sent to those areas. Yes, of course. I've had my reservation with RMS portfolio. I feel that the president needed someone with educational planning, administration, and management. And I was stipping to do to be the substantive. But what is interesting about Mr. Aaron is his adaptability. One time community moved to labor relations, employment, and then as minority leader, liaising with the government in power, ensuring that the minority was on top of their brief. Then finally, the minority portfolio, the party will for education portfolio. So if the president did not go for someone with typical educational expertise, then probably he will do that when it comes to the deputy. Maybe he's looking at the experience that he's had in government. The educational sector is a very tough place. When a government is